when I got booted off of Google. Like Google took down my Google My Business, like suspended it. And I spent months trying to figure it out myself. Finally came across Jeremiah and he's like, yeah, I could take care of that for you. And he did. All right. Well, here we go again. Another week of this Renovation Situation podcast where we pull back the complex layers of this industry, of the remodeling industry, that is. So grab your beverage of choice and let's get to it. All right. So today, Todd, I'm really excited because here on the Renovation Situation podcast, we are talking to Jeremiah, the founder of Envision Marketing. I'm going to have him explain it, but the best I got is web designing marketing company that helps like service-based companies, businesses, especially remodelers like me, turn their websites into lead generation tools. That's what I'm thinking. But welcome, Jeremiah, to the Renovation Situation.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So instead of me rambling on and probably getting it all wrong, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here?
Yeah, so I started Envision Marketing over almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years of operation in December. And yeah, I mean, we do web design, marketing solutions, anything web-based, really technology-based. I've helped you with even Google IT issues in the past, right? So more than just website stuff, really anything tech-based. And the reason I got into it was just because I had a construction background. I was a flooring contractor, and like every contractor, right, I started out with a Wix website that just never got me any leads. So I decided to leave construction, go in and study. I spent 2 years just learning to code and doing that for 8 hours a day without a job. And yeah, it ended up paying off and started being able to take a step back and work with people from the previous industry in the trades and really service-based businesses. So yeah, it's been a good experience so far, and the business has grown quite a bit, and we've worked with a lot of really cool companies in the last almost 2 years.
That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. You've been in business for 2 years now?
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in December.
Okay, cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's been, we've worked with like even property management groups, hair salons. We've worked with a really wide range of services and kind of cool companies throughout the last 2 years now. So I'm hoping to really see where we go in the next 2 years or the next couple of years for the future, and kind of see how we expand.
And you like the small businesses? You're more small business oriented, it seems like?
Yeah, right now it's a small team. So, and then working with other companies too, right? Small businesses either starting out. We've worked with companies that have as much as 600 employees.
Oh, wow.
So people just starting out or big companies, we're kind of covering all the grounds.
Right on. Great.
So in full transparency, Jeremiah is working on my website currently right now, Plumb Perfect Builders website. And we met at a networking event, didn't we? Master Builders Association networking event is how we ran into each other. And then, yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really sure I needed my website worked on or anything until I started to have coffee with Jeremiah for a couple times. And he really kind of showed me that he knew what he was talking about. And I did not know what I was talking about. But really, the relationship grew when I got booted off of Google. Like Google, what did they do?
Google
They
My Business.
Yeah, took down my Google My Business, like suspended it, and for whatever reason. And I talked to so many people who that has happened to them too. And no one was able to help me out at all. And I spent months trying to figure it out myself. Finally came across Jeremiah. And after a little bit of talking, he's like, yeah, I could take care of that for you. And he did. So, hey guys, jumping in here real quick. If you're a remodeler or service business owner who's still doing your own bookkeeping at 9 p.m., I've been there. That's exactly why I started Plumb Financial, to help business owners like you take back their evenings and actually feel confident in their numbers. We handle the books so you can focus on building the business you love. Learn more at plumbfinancial.com, and let's make bookkeeping one less thing on your to-do list. Really helped me out there.
Was that a matter of getting verified on Google? Is that what it was? Because I had that issue.
His account was taken down I don't know how long it was taken down for, but it was a while. And then even getting it back up with all the appeal processes that we had to go through, I think the span of 3 months just for Plumb Financial, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
It took like 3 months of just going back and forth with Google. And then we ended up finally getting everything wired in so we could get everything appealed. So it went live, and it's just a thing of consistency and just kind of knowing what workarounds they have. Google's always changing their platform from what I've seen. So trying to get to those appeal processes is always kind of a pain.
So you mentioned that like Wix wasn't getting you anywhere when you had a flooring company. So like what's the difference between like a Wix website and something that you would typically do?
Well, it's a more strategic approach of going back with SEO. So that's kind of focusing more on what keywords are being used, right? So if I'm thinking of it from a contractor perspective, right? All I knew back then was essentially floors, right? Different types of floors I'm going to be installing or what I'm going to be working on. But I'm not really thinking about what kind of things are being searched up by potential customers, what areas I'm targeting. If I was to put something as, let's say, vague as floors, just floors near me or flooring, as a keyword for my website, right? And that's the first header. It's going to compete with thousands of other keywords that are also ranking for floors or flooring. So in that case, for Joe here, if we were to do the same thing with remodels, right, you're going to get a bunch of things that are going to be a lot higher competition or a lot higher authority from, let's say, Pinterest or Facebook, bigger applications that are already showing other people's remodels or whatever, to kind of spark ideas. So it depends on the customer intent. And that's something I wasn't really looking at. As far as a content writing perspective, the way I didn't say this earlier, but we code all of our websites. So we use a framework called Next.js. It's JavaScript based, and it's been pretty good. It's really good on efficiency for speed. It optimizes your sites on the back end SEO, so that way they actually operate faster. As far as faster render speeds when you want to pull something up, and those are factors that can tie in to where your website sits on the totem pole for when people search for you. So there's a lot of like back-end factors that people just don't really think about. And Wix and WordPress are a little bit slower. And as far as customizations and everything, they don't come off as professional. Again, coming at it from a contractor perspective and then as a marketing and then web development perspective, like you can see kind of the fine line drawn in the sand, right? So what I basically saw was there's just a lot of inconsistency. You kind of start to learn to develop an eye for different layouts, what's going to look good, what's not going to look good, the functionality aspects as well for what a user is going to ideally do. Ideally, it's just kind of identifying the customer, just to kind of ramble on a little bit, but it's identifying the customer, the marketing aspect of it. Those are things that kind of stood out after learning everything I've learned as far as code and marketing, which helped me, especially with learning and being able to speak with other contractors or other service-based professionals. It's just like helped me stand out as far as what I do in my space, working with another specific industry.
Okay.
That's interesting because you hit on a couple of things, and I want to ask you to break it down a little bit. So a lot of remodelers, right? Like Todd and I probably, we just think that like we just need a nice looking website. And like that's going to be enough, right? And that's it. That's all we just need to be out there. It needs to look good, and then that's it. But you're talking about it. It goes way beyond that, right? So kind of like what's the biggest misconception? And you've touched on a handful of different things that I think are the answer. But what would you say is like the largest misconception that us remodelers have, and kind of like what's missing that mindset that we have about we just need a nice website to look at?
The biggest thing that I've heard since starting is I've been doing this for years and I've been getting word of mouth. Right? Everybody knows there's their handyman, everybody knows their contractor, their electrician. It's always word of mouth, right?
Right.
That's only going to take you so far as how the markets are changing, how the areas are changing demographically speaking. You have a lot younger of a generation coming in that's kind of coming into that customer base, geographically speaking too, right? So I'm based in the Seattle area, working with people that are primarily in tech, primarily a younger generation. Now they're starting to come into that homeowner space. Let's just keep it on construction for now, right? They're not going to be really looking around. They're probably moving north from California or other states. And a lot of people aren't necessarily making a whole lot of connections to be like, who can I call to patch my drywall, right? I'm just going to find somebody online, and whoever's the first couple of results that looks legit and like they're going to do a good job, I'll probably call them. It's a lot faster paced. So I think with the understanding of the changing market is what's going to help kind of be competitive in that space, especially with the amount of competition that there is. And word of mouth is always going to be great, right? Because now let's say somebody found you online, and I've had it happen to me. Somebody finds me online for my services. They inquire whatever they want, a website, and then we get referrals from 2 or 3 other people. Oh yeah, somebody got their website with you, right? So it almost expands your reach even further. Somebody finds you on for a remodel. They recommend you to their friend. They want their deck done. So it expands that reach. It also gives you a really professional looking portfolio too for when you're presenting with clients. Again, understanding your market. This is a big investment. If I'm going to be doing a bathroom remodel, I can expect to, spend about 50 grand, right? Or more. I want to know that the company that I'm going to work with is going to be the right company for me as far as they can handle it. They have the capabilities, the capacity as far as workload to do that. If it's word of mouth, it's different. If I'm referred to you, somebody's vouched for you, said these guys got it. But if I'm looking for you for the first time, I want to be like impressed. I want to make sure that these guys can handle a $50,000 remodel and aren't going to run with my money or do a shoddy job, right? Like this is high level stuff, and you hear all the time of stories where people are necessarily having bad contractor experiences. So I think having that, and especially highlighting those testimonials on your website, take you a long way.
Okay, so you touched on testimonials that you can do on your website for a remodeling company that's just trying to grow, just starting out. Like, what's the simplest thing that they can do to have the biggest impact on their website themselves if they're just not ready to hire somebody to redo their website? And then also on that, like, what's the best thing that they can do? But then also, what's the worst thing that they are doing that you see people doing that are really hurting their conversions, let's say?
A lot of people give minimal information to start. So what's something that's hurting? They give minimal information. The images, we're visual learners, a lot of us. So we want to kind of see what kind of work they can do. So if I can't read anything about the company or see much, and it just says, we do tile, we do floors, we do drywall, for example, and that's it. And there's like a couple pictures that are probably off of iStock or any other platform that don't look real. Yeah. Like if I'm looking for services in Seattle and I got palm trees in the back windows, that's the pictures I'm seeing, right? I'll be like,
I gotta take those down.
Yeah, so it's like it gives a weird vibe, and I just get a weird feeling from it when I'm looking at it from a customer perspective. So kind of putting yourself in your customer's shoes and kind of understanding what's something that they're going to be looking for. If I was to look for that, what can I expect? Right? And a lot of these contractors like to say we treat a house as if it's our own. Well, you kind of want to reflect that on your website, and make sure that you have good quality images at the least, good explanations of what services are being provided, at least our process as well. Kind of give an idea for the customer what they can expect before even calling you, and that's helped. And we've had a contractor that got found online by a national GC, and they're doing all the Bank of Americas on this west side now because they needed them for a Linwood Bank of America remodel. Right.
So all because you redid their website. Look at you.
We did their site. They had a professional layout. It really stood out. The keywords helped. So all those factors really play into it for something to where you can get that big relationship. You can get that big deal or big contract, right? So now, hey, we're going to be working on all the Bank of Americas when they remodel. I'm like, that's great. That's something that makes me happy too, because now I'm helping out all these contractors or customers that, they're necessarily just focused on one skill, which is their trade. But now I got to play into the effect of, okay, I got to do my books, I got to do my website, I got to juggle 50 different things. So I try to label it as, you want to make sure that you can delegate as a business owner too. Just because you're good at one skill, you got to also figure out the management side of it and how to delegate those tasks, because it's only so much that you can handle. And if you're doing 1,000 things at once, I don't think you're doing really anything. You're only getting little incremental percentages based off of each thing.
Yeah, I feel like you're talking straight to me. Yeah. Okay. All right. Too many things at once. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I have a question, because anytime I ever talk to anyone in your field, it's always that first page of Google always comes up, and it's like, the all important, no one ever gets to the second or third page of Google, right? So at least that's what they say. It's like sometimes you might, but I mean, I myself, I'm like you had mentioned, it's so much faster paced than it used to be. A lot of times, whatever I'm looking for, I don't make it past that first page fairly often, whatever service I may be looking for. So one thing that just piques my curiosity is like, there's so many remodelers out there that they've got to be vying for that space. Like, how do you get to that first page of Google? And like, how do you keep that first page of Google? Can you even, is that something you have to constantly strive for if someone's kind of paying for that? Like, how does that work?
So there's a couple different factors into that. One of them being domain authority. Location is another thing. If I'm looking for contractors and I have, let's say Joe's in Edmonds, right? So he's in Edmonds, I'm in Woodinville area, almost Kirkland. If I'm looking for a contractor in my area, it's going to be unlikely that Joe comes up just because he's targeting and based out of Edmonds, right? So there's a local factor, there's domain authority, how long has the company been around? So there's several factors. Trying to think of what else. There's a thing called local schema and SEO that also kind of highlights that. So on the back end, it'll say, we're a local service, we service this area, or we're a local service-based business and we service these couple areas, or we service this select few of areas. And as a contractor, you might service a whole county, right? So a way that we combat that is we have individual landing pages. So for Joe's case, right, we're going to be making landing pages for each individual city to up his chances of coming up locally on those results. So since he's in Edmonds, he'll have a page that's targeting Kirkland, for example. So when you have higher income clients or whatever kind of client base is reaching out, you're more likely to come up on that page. There's other factors as well, as far as people paying for ad spots. So they'll pay Google ads, usually end up in the first position or two, which can get really expensive. And we've managed ads for companies that were spending up to $5,000 a month. I've known a couple other companies that are spending 10, 12, 15K a month just on ad spend.
Yeah.
So it gets expensive really quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, organic is really a good way to go. Making sure you have a high level of reviews. Google's going to be looking for that because it's all based off of the search intent. If I'm looking remodelers near me or kitchen remodel contractor, for example, Google's going to see, okay, this user is looking for a service, who's providing a service. So you can specify that on the back end with local schema markup, which is the SEO thing I was telling you about. And yeah, it's a little bit of work, but you can eventually get up to the top as far as organic. And yeah, it's mostly just location based, especially in a contractor space.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
So what are all the services that because you're not just website design. I think that's your main thing, but is that correct? Your main thing is web design, like recreating and revamping an entire website. But what else are you into?
So my goal long-term is to be a kind of business hub, essentially. We want to provide services that kind of that relate and kind of branch off into each specific thing, right? Because it can be more than just websites and what makes up a website. So now we're starting to offer videography, photography services. So we can go into some of these job sites and take high quality video, photos, the type of stuff that as a photographer would see, kind of, okay, these are the types of shots we want to get if we're going to highlight a remodel, right? Or, that's why you have a lot of photographers for your Zillow listings for whenever you're selling property. They know kind of what things to highlight. So we're offering photography, videography, websites, ad management on Google and Facebook ads. There's a lot that goes into that as well. We do IT support. We're trying to bring back more of a human touch as far as how things are played, right? Understanding our customer. Customers typically aren't tech savvy in the trade space, especially as you start climbing older and older in the trade space demographic.
Todd is not tech savvy. Not tech savvy at all, Todd. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, I am not. I am not insulted by that at all. That is the absolute truth. The absolute truth.
Analog right there.
I'm always
kind of veering off a little bit from that. We understand that we want to bring more of a human touch, especially as we're moving more into the world of AI. I'm sick of having to yell representative at my phone 20 times so I can talk to an actual person at my bank.
Amen.
Or having to, jump over all these hurdles to get in touch with somebody for like this actual person that can actually understand and reason a little bit better than what we currently have. And as it gets better, yeah, it'll be nice. And it's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. And I think promoting something as a human touch and investing in that, even though it's more expensive, it'll provide for higher quality customers in the long run. And that's something that I'm looking to really expand into. So that's why we want to be able to provide all these services and make sure that we're easy to get in touch with, have somebody on staff at all times, or somebody that can always be able to take those calls from our customers that need requests or change requests in whatever service that may be, whether it's websites
How
or ads.
refreshing to hear that. Everybody wants to not talk to anybody and make me jump into a press 1 for this call and press 2 for this call, which I just end up back to the same main menu again. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really important. That'll really set you apart.
Yeah, so we're going in on that and really touching base on all the tech-based solutions, right? So kind of IT support, like we helped you with your Google page, the Google ads. So kind of anything really tech or tech related as far as that digital space, we're trying to really make sure we can provide a service of value or point customers into, let's say, power partners directions, right? We don't necessarily work with on-site servers or anything like that. It's a more high-level IT issue, but we have people that we know, other contacts that we can kind of point customers to that direction. That we want to show that transparency. We can help with almost everything, but there's some things that obviously we can't do. We can't manage your actual hardware or do some of that stuff with your servers. So, but we have people that we can point you to that we have vouched for, have worked with in the past, that we know will do a good job and really make sure that you're taken care of. So with that, we try to reflect a lot of Amazon's methodologies and being really customer focused. So that's my goal and vision with the company. And hence the name, right? Envision. We want to make sure we're kind of reflecting the customer's visions as well.
Yeah, I like the name. I meant to mention that when we started. I like the name.
Yeah, it was.
Although you had a question about the IO part of the website.
Yeah. Was it Envision Marketing IO? What does the IO stand for?
So one thing .com was taken online, but .io was it's typically what's used in tech-based companies. You'll see a lot of any startup really or anything tech related. It's typically see a .io. So I just decided to roll with that as well.
Okay.
There you go.
I meant internet operations because that's mine. This is the tech. This is the tech in me.
Yeah.
We're gonna stand for something. Probably internet operations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
nice.
But yeah, we've had a lot of questions on that too. People not sure what the IO means. So if you're in tech, you'll have a good idea of what it is. But if anybody else, it's like, I don't know, you speak in Chinese to me essentially.
So you rebuild websites. You kind of talked about the IT part. What about the elusive like advertising marketing stuff? Are you including that in your overall branding or under the whole business umbrella that you're trying to build? Are we going to you for all that social media junk and garbage that we're supposed to be throwing out there and content and all the stuff that makes us feel gross?
Yeah, essentially.
That's how I feel anyway about it.
That's what we're looking to provide under the umbrella. So
cool,
again,
good.
Anything tech based.
All right, sign me up, Jeremiah. Get me on there. Take care of that. I don't want to do it.
We'll get you covered.
It's gross. Yeah.
We basically want to make sure that we're targeting, again, really strategically. Some people want to run ads and then they'll just throw money at it and essentially burn their money to the ground, right? You can't expect to just throw money at something and expect something to happen. And I've seen that a lot. So thinking of things strategically in the sense of what keywords are we targeting, what areas geographically are we targeting within a certain, let's say, county, right? So we're targeting within King County, let's say we're targeting Kirkland, we're targeting Linwood, and we want to see what has the highest search volume for whatever service we're trying to provide. So those are kind of examples, right? Those are things that we're looking at. Some companies want us to make sure we're monitoring all that and making sure that their conversion rates are up, and we're checking those once, twice a week, some every other day. And we have some that are doing once or twice a month, just a monthly check and make sure that their budget's online, everything's kind of managed at a good pace. And we can kind of consult and say, hey, we noticed that there's a little bit more of an uptick in Linwood area. We're going to start targeting there, and we're going to drop Everett. Just drop some areas. So if there's not enough search volume, we're going to prioritize or allocate the money that we're spending right now every month towards that to actually get a little bit higher of a return. So yeah, that's kind of on the AdSense side, and we make sure we're doing that with Google as the popular one. It just depends, right? What's going to be the best bang for your buck, depending on what service or industry you're providing. If your overall remodel is a GC, you might want to be targeting on both, and kind of understand where customers are searching for you the most. Is it mostly on Facebook when they're scrolling through Marketplace? Is it actually when they're intentfully looking on Google, and then you want to retarget them later on Facebook? So those are things that we try to think about and make sure that we're really, again, transparent, doing good communication with our customers, and making sure that they're really involved in the whole process as well, without actually having to be involved, right? But keeping them updated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it did. It did. Definitely. Basically, I don't have to do any social media marketing, and I'm just going to have Jeremiah do it. That's what I heard.
We'd love to help. Yeah, we'll do it. No problem.
Yeah.
Like I've said, we've worked with a lot of cool companies, and working with Joe too in the last couple of months, and kind of getting more on a friend basis as well, cultivating their relationship.
Yeah.
It's been great working with him. So,
I have to say, I really appreciate that side. Like, our business is such relationship business. It's relationship building. We're in your home for so many months. There's a lot of clients that I end up walking away as with friends, right? Because we've gotten to know each other so well. And you wouldn't necessarily think that would happen with an IT website development company, but with Jeremiah, we meet up, we have coffee, which is my favorite part, where we get to hang out, have good coffee, and just get to know each other a little bit. And then how can we help is where it's all coming from. And I love it. It's because it's in my wheelhouse. That's what we're doing already. I want to extend that relationship building part throughout all of my business, even the website building part. So I love it, and I appreciate it. So thank you, Jeremiah, for providing that, because I don't think there's enough of that out there. And with all this AI mumbo jumbo that might be coming down the pipeline, I kind of feel like going back to the basics might give you a leg up all of a sudden. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think most people are striving to be as remote as they can in a number of different careers. So they want to be on a beach somewhere, doing their job from as far away as possible. So to have that face to face and have that personal touch, I think goes a long way.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, everybody wants to be remote. I like to be as remote as I can.
Right.
Not have to drive, especially with Seattle traffic, right? It's
sure.
So it's 10 minutes down the street where it wouldn't be this much traffic, but it's rush hour, and I'm sitting there for an hour just to do a couple miles. But yeah, no, we want to make sure again that it's really customer focused with our business as far as everything. We look at other companies. We kind of like I said, we look at Amazon and reflect their values and kind of methodologies. And then for the personal touch too, if you have a American Express, right, it's really easy to get in touch with somebody as opposed to any other bank, right? Credit unions are tricky. They're smaller and easier to get a hold of, but American Express is a lot easier to kind of get in touch with somebody and go over whatever you need to get over with your statements or anything like that. So we want to really reflect that too in a space to where understanding our customer, they don't want to be dealing with, a Wix website that they put together that dedicated 4 hours every night for the next 2 months of trying to put it together when we can get it all together.
Gross. Been there, did it, met with Jeremiah, and this was when I wasn't sure. I wasn't I'm not ready to throw a bunch of money at it, or I'm not ready to ask somebody else to do this, right? And I'm a creative person. I should be able to create my own website. So then I met with Jeremiah for the first time, and he's like, okay, here's some pointers. And then I went home and revamped the whole thing months later, not months, but weeks of hours. You're not wrong. He's not exaggerating when he says 4 hours a night for the next 3 weeks, right? Because that's what I was doing. And I'd still half-assed it. And I was like, all right, I got to brand new website. It looks great. And then he looks at it and he's like, yeah, good job.
Yeah.
A little pat on the back. Yeah, yeah, that's 10% better. 10%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's again, things that people don't really think or account for. And we want to make sure that we're on the ball always for our customers, as far as what we can provide and what things they actually need, right? Something like
Right.
your Google business thing, for example, going back to that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was taking you a long time. It even took us a while to do, but that shouldn't be your main focus. Your main focus is actually providing a good service for your customers, making sure that the day-to-day on each job site is actually going smoothly, the operations are going well. So that's something that can delegate off to us. We can kind of take over and make sure that it's going smoothly, and making sure that you actually have your Google business page up and running with that peace of mind, but also keeping you updated, right? If you remember, I was texting you maybe every other week, hey,
Yep.
got an appeal in, waiting to see what happens. We'll keep you updated and make sure that you're on board. And even with our websites too, one thing that's really unique about our company that I haven't seen with anybody else is when we start a website process, we have a specialized link that will text you. I think I texted it to you, Joe.
You did.
So you can see the website progress. Whenever there's a change, we push it live to our server and make sure that the customer can actually see and interact with the website, see how it's going to look on mobile. Because again, understanding our ideal clients' time of value of time, they're probably going to be at job sites, and at night they're probably putting together estimates. They're probably doing something. They're always busy. Take an hour to 2 hours out of their day, have to sit down and go over a website. We could do it over a virtual meeting too, but even that just takes time. I don't want to be sitting on the phone for an hour, carve out time in the day. We're all busy. We're all business owners. So that's why we want to make sure we can send a link. You interact with it whenever you have time, before you go to bed or whatever. You can just send us some updates. Hey, I'm not really liking this picture here. Maybe we can change this color, or, I want to word this differently. Whatever kind of changes or tweaks you want to make. We want to make sure that it's really focused to where you can kind of take a screenshot, for example, and send that over. This area specifically, I want to change this image to this image, for example. And I haven't seen anybody else do that in the space. That might be just because we're code based. I don't see that a lot with the WordPress websites that we work off of, or that we've seen other people work off of, which is the most common form, especially when you hire quote unquote web designers or web developers. Everything's coded from scratch. So it's a bunch of lines of code, and it allows for us to be pretty modular with what we're building and kind of what we can showcase as well. So customers value that.
Is there anyone else involved in your company? Or are you flying solo?
No, so I have another developer. I have a photographer, videographer now on my team, and then we just hired a sales guy 2-3 weeks ago. That's just starting out, and he'll be going to a lot of networking events as well, and kind of bringing in some warmer leads, or putting together events. We'd like to start putting together some networking events, or maybe like a happy hour or something, maybe just to kind of teach some people kind of what kind of value we can bring, but not make it very, very pushy. We don't like to be very pushy with what we do, but we do like to give out a lot of information and make sure that we, again, are just transparent with what we're doing, showing that how much time we can save, and kind of giving some metrics as far as what our customers value, which is it's all their time really, and money.
Yeah, giving me my time back is the biggest one, right? So is in the spirit of being educational, let's just say that we have a small company, service-based company, has a website, did it himself, got it up and running. It's been up there for a year or two, whatever. What's out of all the things that he can do next or she can do next, whether it's website development, Google ads, Facebook ads, go play on TikTok, whatever, out of all the things that can be done for marketing or lead generation, what's the biggest bang for their buck, and where should they start?
So depending on the business, right? I'll give an example. We had a junk removal business in California that we worked with, and they had a website that they had started, and it was doing okay. They were getting some leads, right? They were getting some customers in the door. But when you're first starting, I think it's really important to make sure that you're leveraging as much credibility as you can. And how do you get your credibility is mostly through testimonials, especially, let's say, in the junk removal space. In the example that we're giving, We want to make sure that the guys are coming here on time. A lot of companies now have these CRMs to where they automatically text the customer saying that they're on their way, be based off their location, whatever that may be, and trying to be customer focused. So I think leveraging that credibility is going to take you a long way. And then I think also a big winner for let's say junk removal is going to be a website, right? So you want to make sure that you want to have a website that's going to rank organically, start bringing in some jobs, get involved in your local community too. You're going to have to do some networking and kind of meet people essentially on another day-to-day basis thing, so you can actually start bringing in customers in the door. Once you start getting some revenue, that's when you can really start investing more into your website, your marketing, and making sure that you kind of have a better pipeline built out for your customers to come in. So in the case of that kid, he's 18, started his company a year ago. We took his website on in June, and he's our biggest free case. Actually, he gets probably 3 to 4 converting customers a day that find him on his website because we track it. 18 years old,
Wow.
He's making 50 to 5,000 a month in revenue with a 2-man team, just doing junk removal. It's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, we're super stoked to see those numbers, and all he did was a website. His website investment was a couple grand, and that's obviously paid off in full. We set up his marketing efforts. He's on Google Ads, Google LSA. He's on Facebook ads too, I believe. I think with that alone too, I can see it obviously, but you got at least 4 or 5 Google ad submissions just today, for what I've seen. So it's pretty good to see those, numbers kind of converting, especially with your customers and your efforts that you're putting into your business. So figuring out the pipeline and really enhancing it to kind of make sure that that's what's really feeding you in your business, especially starting out, which is the tricky part. And I think in the first 5 years, right, they're the most crucial. I think the statistics are, 95 or 99% of contractors fail within the first 5 years, or business owners.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about it. Nobody knows who you are when you're starting out. As great of a service as you provide, how are we going to know who you are and what you're doing? You got to put yourself out there somehow. And that's why a lot of people get distracted, especially in a space like construction. It's a lot of money very fast. And it kind of gets that comfort level up. So if you don't know how to kind of discipline or budget yourself well, it can kind of turn around and bite you in the ass, essentially. And I've seen it with other contractors that I've worked with. They were doing great 2 years ago. Something happened. They're working at another company, right? So I think going really aggressive and reinvesting your efforts into your marketing or whatever that may be that's in your business pipeline that's really bringing in more business is going to be the most crucial for the first 5 years. Once you're kind of at a certain level, now you have a good customer base. People know you. They can start reaching out. That's where you're starting to get a bit of referrals. That's when you can kind of die down after that 5-year mark. Maybe you're spending, let's say, $5,000 a month on marketing. Now, after 5 years, if you have a pretty good hold on your business, I think it's safe to say you can kind of drop that by an incremental amount until you're kind of sustainable, right? You're at a sustainable level. You don't need to be spending that much in overhead. And now you're kind of turning that into more of a profit. So yeah, for example, again, with a company that got that Bank of America contract, I think they're spending about $5,000 or $6,000 a month in ad spend across the board, Yelp, Facebook, Google, etc. Same mentality. It's, nobody knows who we are, what kind of services we're providing. We need to be putting ourselves out there and making sure that people are finding us and getting that educational level of what kind of service we provide, the level of quality we're providing it at. And after 5 years, which I think they have 2 more years, they've had their business for about 3 years now, they're going to start trickling down a little bit on their bad spend. So
Cool.
So you guys want to open a junk removal company? Because that sounds extremely profitable for fairly low startup costs. So I think it might be it.
Yeah. Do you count you in? Yeah. You can go shovel someone's, garbage out of their basement.
I'll be the fractional marketing officer, I guess.
There you go.
We'll get the business kick-started and save a couple bucks on the marketing and website cost of it.
There you go.
We'll get going.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to touch on something really important that I think I learned that it just was like an aha moment on this whole marketing mumbo jumbo black magic stuff was When I was thinking about marketing and advertising and my website, and I was getting overwhelmed with all the content that you might have to put out there and all the ad spend that you might have to do on Google Ads and all of that, this is why I asked you the question, where do you start and what's the biggest bang for your buck? And I think you answered it. So correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the answer here, and this is the biggest takeaway that I've took after talking to you and others in this industry, in this kind of IT marketing sense, was that SEO is really important, but it doesn't happen tomorrow. So if I have a really good website and I get all my keywords and everything, it still takes time for that to generate. It still takes time for the internet to go out there, read it, categorize it, and actually see my website as a real website and all that. That takes time. So instead of having a crappy website and throw a bunch of money at your AdSense, I think that's going to do you a disservice. So where you want to start is a good website with good SEO, good keywords, all of that. Get that foundation created online with a nice website, and have it structured in a way where the internet and AI could read it well. And then once you have that, now that's your foundation. That's where I think you have to start, is to have that built, because that needs to grow. That's like your asset, your investment that you've created now, that foundation, where it will pay dividends for you, not tomorrow, but months, years down the road.
Yeah. So going back to that, it wouldn't make sense if you value your time and the amount of money you could be making in your business. Starting out, right? If you're going to be putting on all those extra hours each night or even during the day to put it towards a website, I would save that and put it towards something more professional, something that's actually going to give you a return on your investment down the line. So it'll take a few months. And when I started, I made my website and was waiting for it to rank and everything. And the first 3 months, I was doing cold calls. I had a script built out and I was able to download a bunch of different companies' informations with their phone numbers, who to get in touch with, and just started cold calling all day. And that's, on a free sense, didn't cost me anything except my time of just making sure I can get in touch with all these people and get that exposure. But eventually my website started ranking and I started getting a little bit of a result there as far as what I would do. Again, depending on the industry, right? What space that we're working in. If it's service space, a website's going to be the biggest one, especially depending on the investment size. Junk removal is not as expensive. But if I'm doing a kitchen or bathroom remodel, that's going to be a lot bigger of an investment. And it wouldn't make sense to even have a website if it's just going to have 4 or 5 pictures and kitchen remodel and that's it on the title, right? And I've seen that. So I would put that to a little bit of a later investment. If you have the money for it, definitely do it. And if you don't, go something to re-answer that question, essentially. Go more of a free route to start, something that's going to be easy to do, easy to kind of get the ball rolling on. You can have your Google business account set up by yourself if you have time to set it up, get it verified, and start getting reviews. If you have any customers that you already are getting in the door, really emphasize those reviews, great, because as I was saying earlier, you want to emphasize the credibility. And then once you get kind of that first little bit of money that's coming in the door with your business, then that's when you want to start focusing on getting a website, getting the things really rolling, so you get a little bit more of a pipeline built and that's actually flowing.
Agreed. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah.
Hopefully that clarified it.
Yeah, it did. It did. I just wanted to put it out there because it felt like an aha moment for me, at least. The whole SEO stuff and how that all works and why it's so important to have a website and why it's so important to have a professional website done and not just me spending 4 hours at night and half-assing it.
Yeah, and the way I try to look at it too is, like I said, I model a lot of bigger companies, but there's no rules saying you can't model another company that's doing what you're doing in a space. If they're doing something that's working, you might want to take that and see, okay, I'll have to roll with this too, right? And you see big companies, a lot of these big contractors or big home developers in the area. I mean, I was looking at DR Horton the other day, their website, they're really big home developer and they have a really professional site, but they need something like that to be able to showcase the level of work that they're doing. Some people just don't understand or really think about, are these guys really doing that kind of work? Like, you need to have something visual to really tie into our mind, okay, this is the level of work they're doing. These guys are doing high rises. They're doing a lot of work that really I wouldn't expect if they were to tell me that on the side of the road. But if I can see, hey, this is our company, that's me on the website, this is our team, like we'll get you taken care of. Okay, now there's a little bit more to tie into the picture as far as what I can expect from this company when I want to work with them.
If there's somebody listening that is on the fence, not sure about investing in their website, is there anything like really short and sweet to the point that you can kind of leave us with?
I always ask the question, is it easier to knock on 1,000 doors or have a website that reaches 1,000 people?
I'm going to go with the website answer. How about you, Todd?
So you could do one thing once and have it be taken care of, and now your system is automated. Yeah. People can start coming in, or you could physically go out and knock on 1,000 doors. I'm not going to
yeah, totally.
I like that.
Todd, you got anything else? You got any more questions for Jeremiah?
No, any notes I had, we covered. I mean, you did a great job. You did a great job of thoroughly explaining all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw on you guys' question list, I think what's a big challenge that we're kind of facing right now as a business.
Yeah.
People always ask me the question too, and maybe you guys can relate to this, as how are we going to compete with AI? How are we going to, be able to manage that new wave coming into the space? What we've seen with AI is we're using it as a tool, especially for automation, time being saved throughout the day. It helps us a lot in the actual building process or our day-to-day operation process. But maybe people felt the same way when YouTube came out, as the way I look at it. Yeah, I can learn on YouTube how to build a deck. Am I going to spend the next 6 months trying to build my deck, or am I going to just call my contractor or call somebody to come do it for me? We try to look at it the same way and find a lot of similarities like that. I don't necessarily see AI really putting us out of jobs, essentially, as people see it. Will it alleviate the workload? Yeah, probably. Look at 50 years ago when people were architects and they had those huge sheets on these desks, right? And they're all hand drawing all these drawings. Now, you have all these softwares that come into play, which will really cut out a lot of that need for people. So it'll minimize the workforce a little bit. But again, from a tech savvy perspective, if I want to be efficient with my time and really get a good bang for my buck, I'm going to work with a company that's in the web space that actually specializes in something that I know I can reach out. These guys got it. We'll get the ball rolling for you and make sure that we do it right the first time, and make sure that you're involved the whole way as well. So
cool.
Nice.
Well, thanks for hitting on the AI question, because I think
it's a hot topic.
Yeah, it's a hot topic, and yeah, it does. And it's another one of those that we don't quite understand how much it's going to affect us, or if it's going to affect us in the long term, right?
Yeah.
So very cool. Jeremiah, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Love it.
Thank you.
I hope this was really informative for everyone out there, because I know it was for me. Where can listeners find you? How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can go to our website, envisionmarketing.io. Envision is spelled with an I, not an E. We have our Instagram as well, envisionmarketing.io. Same thing. Those are the two best places to get in touch. You can fill out a form. You have free websites too, free starter websites for new businesses.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. Nice.
So we have I guess going back to that question, we're touching base on it. We offer free professionally built websites. Again, for companies starting out. You want to think about the customer, the contractor or service that's just starting out with one guy, or somebody that has 20, 30, 50, or 100 employees. It's a home service and home service and contact page, fully built out. Customers can reach out and get those going. We have a scheduled call page on the site. It'll pop up on you when you open the home page, and it just really helps customers when you want to have something really professional. You want to update a new job posting that we just did this job. We want to highlight it on the site. Send it over. We have a ticketing system. It's updated in 24 hours. So whenever you get started with your company, we have a free website that's a little bit more than Wix, as far as quality. All we charge on that is the hosting fee, which is $90 a month. extra tank of gas for your truck every month and you have your website problems taken care of.
There you go. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jeremiah. It's been a blast. Envision Marketing. Love it. Go check them out. Website, web development.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. What do you think, Todd? That was awesome. Jeremiah from Envision Marketing.
Yeah. It's a sharp dude. There's a lot to process. Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah. Especially for someone like me who, I need a dictionary next to me for some of the things that, are discussed when it comes to tech and,
Sure.
and it's just not my bag. I'm just super old fashioned. I'm word of mouth.
You're an old man.
Networking, face to face. That's just, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I thought he had some really good answers and some really just in-depth, just concise information. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I got a lot out of it. SEO, web development, that's really important. Probably where to start. Speaking of where to start, if you're a small company out there just starting out, you're not sure about spending a bunch of money to invest in web development, a professional website, he's offering that free website for small companies to start out with. That was he threw that on us right there at the end. So I thought that was really cool. And maybe a cool asset for everyone out there. Very cool. Very insightful.
Mm-hmm.
Cool dude. Also, what did you think about the relationship part of how he just wants to kind of stand out in a way where everyone's going to this remote and we don't need to talk to anybody, where he's trying to build relationships with everybody. I like that. I really like that part.
Yeah. So I think the personal touch is key because
personal touch, human.
Yeah. Absolutely. God knows with what we do, I don't know if you're still as inundated as you used to be with phone calls and emails I get so many emails for that kind of stuff. It's absurd. I don't get nearly as many phone calls as I used to, which is great. I also don't answer the phone as much as I used to either. But
I don't answer the phone either. Yeah.
But I get so many emails, and it's just like, I mean, who do you think you're convincing in? Just a random out of the blue email. Hey, we can do a website for you.
Yeah.
I always say your website's missing something. We reviewed your website. It's like, you're the 18th person this month that's reviewed my website and found holes in it.
I'm getting text messages like that now too.
Awful.
Yeah, it is awful.
Yeah. So
I think Jeremiah was really cool.
And really sit and talk to somebody and figure out what they're looking for, where they want their business what direction they want their business to go in, what their goals are, and how you can help that company along is huge. Yeah. And it's a great angle.
Great. Yep. I think my biggest takeaway was how he's focusing on the relationship part of this business and how that's going to make him stand out, which I think is really important. And then also the website, like how you want to build that as your foundation. And then you take off from there. Because it takes time, the SEO and the internet and all that, and really takes time. That's why it's important to build a good website as a foundation to jump off of. What was your biggest takeaway from today?
A good question. I don't know if I have any one. I don't know if I have any one.
No, you know it all, huh? You didn't learn anything today?
It's all. Ask me that tomorrow. It's got a process. There's a lot of new information for me. Yeah. Come back to me on that one tomorrow or next week.
All right, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.